All right, we are live here on YouTube, and it's good to see everyone. My name is Michael Williams, and I'm here with some very special guests, Abdullah, Alwyn, and Deepan. Uh, Thank you guys for being willing to join us. And today we're going to be hearing some of the experiences of some of our students and clients in terms of why they chose Pro90d, how it's impacted them, and why, in fact, if you're struggling with your speech, why you may want to take a look at Pro90d. And so I'm going to turn this over to Abdullah, who has some great questions for our audience, and I'll be jumping in as well. If you have questions, we want you to ask them, so please go ahead and put those in the chat box, and we'll try to get to those towards the end, and we may actually answer some of them as we're moving through this. Okay, Abdullah.
Yes, Michael. Thank you. And so, hello, everyone. So we will get straight into the session. And the first question that I will ask, and this question is for the Vipin. The question is, why did you decide to join this speech program out of all of the other speech programs? Why this one?
Sorry. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Abdullah. And hello to everybody. So my journey is a long one of 30 years of speech disfluency. So that was from my teenage years onwards. And in between has been a lot of speech therapy, traditional speech therapy. And to bring that up to date, 2 years ago, I was particularly low ebb and feeling disorientated and not quite sure which way to turn. I'd come off the back of my latest version of speech therapy, traditional speech therapy here in the UK. And it wasn't really working for me. Not a complaint against a speech therapist, but it just wasn't working as effectively as it might. So I did probably what many of us have done, go into Google, start to do a search. And within an hour or so, I encountered Michael's videos. And then to cut a long story short, thereafter, fortunately for me, within a few weeks, there was a session Michael held. This was either before the pandemic or the beginning of the pandemic. And there was 25, 30 people there. Abdullah was also present. And it was my first real opportunity to get to hear Michael, and particularly to start to benefit and hear the views of other people who are also experiencing disfluencies. And I suppose it made me feel immediately that I'm not alone, which was a positive. And also from people who in that group had already benefited from some training with Michael, you could start to hear that there was a slightly different approach. So to kind of roll forward from there, I had a few sessions with Michael, and then I participated very actively in the daily Pro90 sessions.
Excellent. Thank you, Vipin. And so I'll ask the same question to Mr. Alvin. Alvin, out of all of the other speech programs, what made this speech program quite unique for you? What was it?
Sure, thank you, Abdullah. So the reason why I wanted to join Pro90d is basically because of the science, a scientifically based program. And because Michael told us that, I think it was almost 2 years ago, there was a YouTube video on Pro90d, yes, on YouTube. And Michael was speaking about that speech is a habit, and that you can change your speech because you can change habits for a new habit, right? For a new speech pattern. And he was talking about modeling. And this really caught my eye because I used to model as well. Because I modeled football players in the past, I modeled TV characters. And when I modeled these TV characters just for fun, I was able to speak really well. I was able to speak fluent. And I thought, wow, what is this, right? What is this? So when Michael told us about modeling, I thought, this is amazing. So I just felt really good about the program. And some other programs where I was a part of, they only told us to focus on our breathing and focus on, and focus on using certain techniques, which did help in the beginning, but later on it didn't really help me. And I knew that modeling did work. So I decided to go with this program, focus on these things, and it really helped me. And it's just amazing. So that's one of the reasons why I wanted to join Pro90d.
Great, Alan. Thank you.
Sure.
So, Karen, my question for you would be the same question, and that would be, what made Pro90d unique out of all the other speech programs right now? Why did you decide to join this speech system? Yes, Karen.
Thank you, Abdullah. I think for me, when you ask me this question, I kind of have to go back in time a little bit and really think about who I was a couple of years ago, sorry, which was really a very different person from who I am now. I was in law school. I think so. Here it's a 5-year long course, and I think I was in my second day. I was just so frustrated. I experience in class, and I kind of made up my mind that I have to find the right program to help me transform the way that I speak. And I actually just chanced upon the Pro90d speaking system because I did a little page that I saw. And when I went to the Pro90d site, the thing that struck me the most was the fact that here is a plan, or here is a program that is so positive, because it really takes away the focus from what you have seen as a problem your entire life, and it makes you, and it wants to challenge you to become the best speaker that you can. And mind you, the reason why this really struck me hard was because I have participated in a speech program in the past, which was over a couple of months when I was, I think, in grade 11. And it was, safe to say, fairly unsuccessful, because the whole USP of the program was stop stammering. That was the USP of the program. There was no real attempt that was made to, learn speech skills or learn skills that will help you become the best speaker that you can be. And when in my mind, I tried to contrast the program that I'd already been to as against the Pro90d system. And for me, the fact that you learn these individual skills that really make up an excellent speaker. And at the same time, you learn about the one skill that kind of integrates all of these skills and makes it one. And that skill is modeling. And so for me, the second that I went through the program, I learned a little bit about Michael. For me, it was an easy yes, because really it's a one-time investment in you being able to live a life that is very different from the life that you'd have been able to envision for yourself otherwise. Thank you.
Great, Karen. Thank you for that input. And so my next question would be, a whole lot of people who struggle with their speech usually live their whole entire lives with their speech having full control over them. And so my question would be, when was that moment that you guys realized that you need to do something about your speech, and you guys need to take back the control over your speech and over your future? When was that moment? And so we'll begin with Vipin first.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Abdullah. So the particular moment for me would have been, again, to roll back the clock 2 years. So I'd just come off the back of some interviews, and I'd had 10 final interviews for a job, meaning at 10 different companies. So I'd fallen at the hurdle on 9, and eventually I triumphed on the 10th. And if I think back, I don't think it was a lack of preparation about knowing the organizations. I went in prepared and armed with what I needed to be doing. And by this stage, I've had a lot of experience under my belt as well. But I was fighting a bigger battle each time going into these interviews and around my speech, and huge anxiety. How would I put myself across? What would I do in the event that I stumbled? Would I acknowledge to the interviewer that I had a problem? Sorry, I had an issue. So having endured that process and come out the other side successfully, eventually, I thought, now that I'm in my job, I don't want to be repeating all of this same issues. And the new job required me to be performing at a higher level compared to where I'd been before, far more presentations, etc., etc. I think at that point, I really recognized that I needed to do something differently.
Excellent. Yeah, so if I would say when was that particular moment for me, it was when I was in university and I had a paper exam. And then after my exam, the teacher had asked me a couple of questions, and I simply could not answer the teacher. I knew exactly what I wanted to say, but in the moment, I simply could not say it. And then I had tried to ask my teacher if I could write down the answers, and she said, no, you have to say them. And so she told me that, how do you want to become a doctor if you don't know how to speak well? And so that was the moment when I knew that I had to do something about my speech if I want to live the life that I truly want to live. So thank you, Vipin. So another question would be, how has the speech system positively impacted your social life and your professional life? How has this speech system positively impacted your speech and your life? And this question I will give to Alvin.
Sure. So how the program has impacted my social life and my professional life, right? Yeah, okay, socially, a lot. I was not always able to say what I wanted to say with my friends, with girls, with almost every person. There were situations where I felt really confident and I was able to speak I was able to say what I wanted to say. But when I didn't feel confident, when I felt nervous, when I felt anxious, I wasn't able to do that. And so Pro90d has helped me to be way more relaxed when I'm speaking with people, being way more present, shifting my mindset to, that I'm a great speaker, because I know that I'm a great speaker right now. And so socially, it has helped me a lot. Professionally or professionally as well, I recently took a new side job where I need to speak on these door-to-door sales. I'm doing door-to-door sales. I took this job because I felt confident, and also because I wanted to take my speech to the next level. I wanted to speak in high pressure situations where I immediately needed to speak with people one to one and to the door. And this really helped me to become more confident and to speak in high pressure situations. So it has helped me a lot, and so both socially and both professionally, I'm able to say what I want to say in high pressure situations. I still need to slow down sometimes a little bit and take my time and breathe. But it's okay because I'm learning and I feel confident and I know that I can do it. So I'm really thankful for the program and it's going really well. So yes, that's basically it.
Excellent, Alvin. Thank you for that answer. And so the same question I'll ask to Karen. How has this speech system positively impacted your speech? And not just your speech, but because as we know, our speech decides our whole entire life. So how has the speech program positively impacted your speech and also your life?
Thank you for that question, Abdullah. I think I'm going to start out by saying that I am the kind of person who really enjoys getting to know people, not just because I have something that I want to get out of them like you would at work, but it's also because I enjoy, I really enjoy to be able to get to know people. And I think that I used to hesitate a lot. Um, but knowing that I have the tools that I need to say what I want to say when I want to say allows me to open up communication with the people around me, to be more proactive, expressing myself, not feeling like I have to hold back. And it's not just about being able to say the things that you have to say to somebody. It's not like when somebody asks you a question, you should be able to respond, because I can definitely do that thanks to the Pro90d skills. I do have to, from time to time, I have to catch myself and say, hey, Kiran, it's okay. You can just slow down and you can say whatever you want to say. And that's okay. But I feel like it's dramatically changed the way that I interact also with my family, because it really allows. So I'm sure that we all from time to time deal with these really emotional circumstances or these really high stress circumstances where you feel like you're predisposed to want to speak a certain way. But I feel like over an extended period of time, when you kind of teach yourself that even in a high pressure circumstance, you want to be able to very purposely make use of the new skills that you learn. When you do that over a period of time, you will find that even when you feel like your body is undergoing high stress, because say you're really angry or you're really upset about something, and you want to chide somebody or you want to yell at somebody, because you've learned all of these skills, which include being calm, being at ease, making sure that you speak in a soft voice or a voice that will allow you to really express what you want to say in a coherent way. It just makes you a better communicator overall. And while you'd want to maybe get really mad at somebody and just like blurt out stuff, I feel like you learn how to get your thoughts together, try to figure out exactly what you say, what you want to say, and then you're really able to communicate it. So it's really not just about the kind of changes that it's made to the way that I perceive myself professionally, but it's also had a dramatic impact in my personal life because it has transformed my ability to communicate with the people that I love. And that's always a great skill. Thank you.
Excellent, Karen. Thank you a lot for that answer. And so this is one of my favorite questions. And this question is, what are 1, 2, or even 3 things that has really helped you the most with your speech? Because we come to know that if you focus on the right skill, it can give you most of your results, right? And so what would be that 1, 2, or even 3 things that you felt gave you the most results in your speech, gave you the power to speak smoothly and fluently and to feel calm in all speaking situations? And so for this, we will go with Vipin.
Thank you, Abdullah. So I could mention numerous points here, but you're limiting to only 3. So I'll start with, it's been touched on, I think, by both Kieran and Alwyn, the notion of endeavoring to speak slower. And I believe that as people who have had difficulties, there's a tendency to want to speak quickly, because once we have that impetus, we want to get the words out there. So the idea of slowing down and allowing yourself that breathing space and using pauses, etc. And so becoming a more effective communicator, as Kieran was talking about, I think that's been the most fundamental change. It's still an ongoing work of progress. I think as we were discussing earlier on before the show began, that when one gets excited, when I get excited, there is a tendency to want to revert back to what I've done for 30 years. However, I think the hard wiring that we're gaining from this program and from participating in the daily sessions, etc., and then implementing the new way of speaking into everyday life does mean that now there's more of an inclination to want to try to speak a bit slower as well. So one is speed of speech. I think secondly, as you can see, perhaps all of us are doing here, is the use of hands. So I think at the beginning it was somewhat forced for me, because I thought I don't need to use hands. I hadn't really used hands before. Why do I need to start using them now? But I think gradually, and you begin to realize by both your own behavior, your own use of hands, and looking at others within the daily group in particular, that the hands start to create this trigger to access a different part of yourself. I think as Alwyn was describing earlier on, this idea of modeling, and modeling somebody who is different from the original version of yourself. So I've definitely found that utilizing hands starts to access something differently. And actually, it also provides punctuation, I think, as well in speech, which again further encourages you to take that pause. I think third and finally, and I've already referenced it, the daily speaking group, which is completely free. I'm not just saying that, but I think it's an important point that once you get on board with that, it can start to make significant inroads. At the beginning, I felt it was just about me speaking, but slowly, gradually, you begin to realize that you get as much from hearing other people speak as well, and the feedback that is given to the others in the group. Because invariably, the feedback given to whether it's Kieran or to Abdullah or to Alwyn is most of it will be relevant towards me as well. So that's my 3. Thank you.
Excellent, Vipin. And yes, everyone, if you get inside the system, we have a lovely community in which each and every day we speak to each other. We try to work on different kinds of skills, and we give each other customized feedback as well. And that has proven to be extremely helpful to all of us. But that you get to be a part of this community if you join this speech program. But it's a lovely community.
Yep. And let me just say that I've seen my coaching clients, as well as our students, of course, really accelerate and improve tremendously by being a part of the group. And so that addition, which, thank you and some other members for running that and getting that started, I think last year. So now you guys meet every single day, I believe. And it's just been super, super helpful. You're in a supportive group of people, or you're with a supportive group of people, everyone's on the same page. So if you're watching this and you're outside the Pro90d speech system, or you've been watching the videos, when you get inside the system, you're now moving through a systematic process with very specific skills, and everyone's on the same page. And so you're not getting a whole bunch of tattered, splattered ideas from lots of different systems and people, which can be very confusing. This is a cohesive process, and so everyone's going to be giving you similar kind of feedback. So that is one of the reasons why a community is so valuable. And like Abdullah said, you can become a part of that when you join either the self-study or the coaching. Right? And many of our students become coaching clients if they need it, right? So we'll talk about that a little later. Yes, so go ahead, Abdullah.
Yes, Michael, thank you. Thank you. So the next question will be, how useful is self-talk? Because as we know, if we want to change our way of speaking, our way of thinking, our way of feeling, we would need to create a new habit. But to create that, we would need to be conscious of the skills that we're working on in the moment. And for us to be conscious, we would need to speak to ourselves. We would need to use self-talk. So the question then is, how important has self-talk been for your success in your speech? And with this, we will go with Alvin.
Yeah, thank you. Wow. Self-talk has been one of the most important things in my speaking journey. I think this counts for a lot of people in the program, because it's so important before you get started with speaking, is that what you think, right? So what do you think in the moment? And if you think negatively, if you think, oh, so I think I'm going to get stuck on this word, or they are probably going to ask me my name, and I need to say my name, right? And I can't say my name. So these thoughts were always going to my head, or not always, but it's just an example. And when I learned to speak more positive to myself, I was able to speak better. I was able to say whatever I want to say. I have a great example. I was in class, and the teacher wanted us to give a short presentation about what we learned that period of weeks or so. And so I needed to tell the class what I learned, right? And I remember that before I joined Pro90d, I would have these negative thoughts. But this time, the thoughts were way more positive. And I was able to maintain these positive thoughts. And because of these positive thoughts, I was able to feel more confident and was able to say what I wanted to say in that moment. And I felt so proud afterwards. And I also shared the success with you guys in the WhatsApp group. It just felt so awesome to have these positive thoughts, to feel more, to feel stronger and to feel more confident. And I personally think that it's one of the most important things in order to speak well. So yeah, so important is it. Yeah.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you, Alvin. Thank you for that. So, Karen, how has Pro90d set you free? Because we know that when we used to struggle with our speech a lot, we felt trapped in our own minds. So now that you have been able to transform your speech, how has it set you free? How has it made you feel that you're no longer imprisoned in your mind?
Thank you, Abdullah. I feel like it's important. I want to kind of start off by just highlighting that I think we've all got so much value to contribute to our own lives and to the lives of the people that are around us. And I think that by allowing me or by giving me the tools that I need to have to be able to express myself, it's allowed me to create value, to create opportunities, and to be able to communicate. I think that I had spent so much time for such a long time feeling like I have so much to say, or I have so much to contribute, but I felt trapped, exactly like you said, Abdullah. I felt like if anybody could just hand me a piece of paper and a pen, well, then I'll show you that I have so much to say. It was literally like that. And I'd get so upset and so mad, and I'd be in like a really awful mood on the days that I knew that I had a big call, or I had to explain a very complicated concept to somebody. I'd be in a foul mood because for the preceding 2-3 hours, I'd be really stressed. I'd be really anxious. I'd be really caught up in myself. And so when you ask me how has the Pro90d speech system changed my life and set me free, I think that I want to highlight that it's not just going to set you free in terms of the fact that you're just going to be able to say what you want to say, but that's a feeling. I mean, it's like the benefits that you get from that one act really compound, and it's like you feel emotionally free, and it's a really beautiful feeling because you get to experience all of life in itself. I remember this one time when I was speaking to Michael. In fact, he told me that you need to remember that, the whole goal of speaking and the whole goal of communicating is to be creative, because you want to share value. And so in being able to do that, I feel like in so many ways, the Pro90d system has freed me, and I don't really feel trapped anymore.
Excellent. Great answer. So, speaking about myself, if I were to think about how I spoke in the past, Pro90d has really set me free, because it's given me the tools that even when I feel quite anxious leading up to a speaking situation, I know what exactly I need to think. If I'm speaking and I feel like I can't say a word, I know what exactly I need to implement in order to speak smoothly. And so this speech program gives you the tools that makes you feel confident in high pressure speaking moments. And so, as I've said, I used to struggle so much with my speech that I couldn't answer questions, and that my own teachers told me that I shouldn't become a doctor, because how would I be able to speak to the patients if I can't speak to the teachers? And so I actually came a long way with my speech, but I only came this long way because of this speech program, because of what I have learned from this speech program. And the most valuable thing for me is when I enrolled in one-on-one coaching. That was when I saw the most results of my speech. Because when you do one-on-one coaching, you really get customized feedback on use only. And so this speech program has really set me free. And now I'm able to speak to strangers, to speak to friends, to speak to people in my family that I actually used to avoid because I wasn't able to share my thoughts. Also, because I used to struggle so much with my speech, I used to not even speak at all. So if someone came up to me and they wanted to have a conversation with me, I just used to avoid speaking. And they used to think that I used to have like an attitude or it was something else about me, but no, it was just so that I was afraid that if I spoke, they would know. They would know that I struggle with my speech and that I stutter, but now I don't feel that at all. And so that's how Pro90d has truly helped me in my speech. So I just feel so happy right now.
Let me jump in and affirm that when I met Abdullah, has to be now a couple of years now at least, when you started with self-study. In fact, Abdullah, I'd like for you to share just a little bit about how you started, because your thinking process is much like a lot of the thinking that's out there now. But Abdullah definitely was what's this called severe, like severe stuttering, making faces, pushing words out. Some of you are looking at him now and you just wouldn't know that. Now, all of us have disfluencies. I still have disfluencies. Everyone has. Even people that don't stutter or stammer, they have disfluencies. They're not aware of it. They don't know. They don't care. So we all do. So you may see any one of us getting a little stuck or something, but so does everyone else. But Abdullah really, I mean, struggling to get the words, just pushing words out, making faces, secondary movements. And the reason that I'm saying that now is because you wouldn't really know that at this point. I have no less than 3 to 5, I'm going to say about maybe 3 current clients that started with me maybe a couple of months ago, who were severe, could barely speak in the interview. And I have some other clients who've been with me a little longer, severe. So that doesn't mean that Pro90d is just for those of you who stutter or stammer. We also have clients who don't stutter or stammer at all, and they just want to improve their speech, want to take their speech to the next level. Maybe they speak too fast. Maybe they speak fast and they're not able to articulate their thoughts as clearly and smoothly under pressure, so forth and so on. So Pro90d is not just for people who stutter or stammer. It's for anyone who wants to take their speech to the next level. But Pro90d can help you if you are severe. We've had some of the most severe cases. I've even had speech therapists, licensed speech therapists, refer people to me because they were not able to help them. That's how systematic and good this program is. Now, Abdullah, let's just briefly do a couple of things. One, I want to have you walk people through your thought process, because when you first met, you said, hey, I'm just going to try to do this on my own. And doing it on your own at that time meant, let me just go to YouTube videos and see what I can learn. And then you took another step. And then after that, you took another step. So share with the audience the steps that you took. And Kieran, you probably had a similar journey. I'm not sure, but I think that you'll recognize this journey because there are people out there who are thinking this way. Let me just get all the free stuff. Let me do it this way. So go ahead, Abdullah.
This Michael. Thank you a lot. So yeah, I first came across Pro90d in the year of 2019. Yes. And I first wanted to see if I could really improve my speech just by watching the videos on YouTube, because I didn't want to spend any money, right? And so I wanted to see, first of all, if I could do it just by watching YouTube videos. And what I saw was that I was able to see small improvements in my speech, and I was able to speak more fluently and more smoothly just from the YouTube videos. But the problem was that it didn't last long, because you need to have a full systematic approach. You need to get into the self-study system if you want to see long, lasting changes. And so that's when I realized that, you know what, I must invest in myself so that I could see the return in my social life, in my career, with my family, with my friends. And so I decided to jump into the self-study program. Now, I was in the self-study program for almost a year or so. I think probably more than 1 year. And I saw huge changes in my speech, because if you were to think about where I got started from, I was severe. And so I was able to see a lot of changes in my speech, but it just wasn't enough. I wanted to truly be a superior, excellent speaker. And you can achieve that through the self-study system, but through my own experience, I decided that it would be through the one-on-one coaching. That is where I would truly see what I am really made of. And so that's when I enrolled in one-on-one coaching. And let me say, it was the best decision of my life. Number one best decision of my life. And I think it will remain to be that way, because my life has completely changed because of this speech system.
Thank you, Abdullah. Let me pass this comment / question on to Kieran, because I know Kieran started with us some years ago when she was in school. And then I think you might have gotten self-study, and then you graduated up into the coaching program. So just say just a little bit, briefly about your journey and your thinking and why you invested in yourself.
Thank you, Michael. So that is right. I actually started out with a self-study program, and if I recall correctly, I was in the self-study program for about 5 months or 6 months, and I saw, the first 3 odd months, um, my acceleration in terms of the smoothness and the fluency of my speech was immediate. I could see immediately the changes in my speech, and it really accelerated. I did so well, and I feel like there came a point where I felt like, I'm doing so well doing just the self study. So clearly, this program works. And I really felt like I could take my speech to the next level if I signed up for the one on one coaching with Michael. And that's exactly what I did. So, to my recollection, there wasn't a lot of thought process that went into the transition from doing the self study to the coaching. I think that for me, it was a very easy choice, because as soon as you do the self study and then you see that the self study works, it's really so easy for you to say that, well, then why not just accelerate it and do the coaching if you can. But at the same time, I also want to highlight that even doing the self study on its own, if for some reason you feel that you're not ready to do the coaching or you can't afford it yet and you want to wait a while, I just want to say that the self study in itself, if you devote yourself to it, you will learn so much. And it's really, I feel like a huge part of your progress is really dependent on the work that you do in private. So if you're able to absorb all of, like, it's like you need to pick it up and you just need to breathe it in. You need to immerse yourself in the program. And in my opinion, as long as you do that, you will still see a fabulous rate of progress in your speech. You need to keep doing that, and you will eventually get to where you want to be. So I think that the bottom line of everything is that regardless of whether you opt to go for the self study and only stick with that, or if you opt to go for coaching. The point of the matter is that 100% of your progress and your ability to speak as well as you want to, and to live the life that you want to, is based on your ability to take control of your life, to accept the fact that you need to take on 100% onus for where you are in your life right now. And so, yeah, I think that no matter how you choose to invest in Pro90d, you will see results. Thank you.
So let's do a couple things, Abdullah. We have a couple of questions, but one of them I'd like for us to answer. The other one has to do with consistency, which Kieran just addressed, and we can address that as well. But let's just answer this question because we got about 14 minutes left or something like that. Yeah. So let's answer this question. I'm going to post it, and Abdullah, you can ask any one of our guests to address this if you like. But basically, how long did it take you guys to get some sort of smooth speech, being choppy, blocking? Did you fully immerse yourself in the program? How much did you do per week? So that's a good question. So I'll hand it back over to you, Abdullah, to ask whomever you like to answer that.
Yes, Michael. Well, I'd like to answer it first. This is a really good question. So Chris Jones says, how long did it take all of you guys to get some sort of smooth speech from being choppy, and did you fully get yourself in the program? How much did you do per week? So that's a really good question, Chris. I used to work for 1 hour each day for around 3 months to 6 months, and now I only work on my speech on my own for around 20 minutes every day. But if you want to see the success in your speech, you need to be consistent. And if you are not consistent, you simply will not be able to see those long-lasting changes in your speech. Because the reason why you need to be consistent is because you need to form a habit, and those are only formed through consistent repetition over time. Right? And so now I'm going to move on this question over to Vipin.
Thank you. So the question is about consistency, yeah? How many hours? So my answer will be a bit different from Abdullah. I think I've adopted a slightly different approach, and I think I would definitely say I prefer Abdullah's approach to this. So I did a few sessions with Michael, and then I reverted to the Pro90 sessions on the daily basis that we've been talking about. So at some point, I'd like to go back to do some more sessions with Michael. I think I've now made some progress, and there are some learnings which I'd like to revert back to see what are the other tweaks and adjustments that I could make as I go along. But answering the question more directly, so at the beginning, I was probably working for about an hour and a half a day. And when I say that, that comprises two main elements, or three elements. One would be the participation in the daily Hangout call. Two, then reverting to the program and spending some time on the program and picking particular videos, working through the process. And then I think point three would be the affirmations, usually for me in the morning. And then if I can really be consistent, then continuing to do the affirmations throughout the course of the day as well. So yeah, that would be my answer. Thank you.
Excellent. So there's something that I want to share with you guys about what this speech program really is about. This speech program isn't focused on trying to treat stuttering. Rather, it's focused on making you a superior, excellent speaker. And so it's not focused on trying to cure it or trying to treat stuttering, but rather it's focusing on changing your patterns of behavior, changing the way you think about your speech, changing the way you speak, and also changing the way how you view yourself as a speaker. Because we can tend to anticipate even leading up to a speaking situation. So it's not just about the certain type of skills that you use when you speak, but it's more so also about the way you think. And so this speech program helps change your patterns of thinking, speaking, and feeling. And so, yes.
Yeah. So we have just several more minutes left. What I'd like to do is there's another question that someone asked that I'd like to answer real quick, but then I'd like to go around to everyone and give you guys an opportunity to just in a minute or two, share a word with those who are watching, who are thinking and wondering if this really works, right? If you were guaranteed something, right? If someone says, I guarantee you 100% this will work. So if you struggle with your speech, I guarantee you 100% this will work, then would you do it, right? Well, we know that it's not much that we can guarantee 100%, but there may be some things that you can say that would help people see that there is a way for them to be free, right? Because people, as you guys have said, are feeling trapped. They are feeling limited. They are being limited by their speech. They're not getting the jobs that they want, the careers that they want. They're not having relationships that they'd like to have. And so you guys were on that side of the fence or that side of the spectrum at one point, and now you're not. So what can you say to the audience that would help them take advantage of this opportunity? Because some people think that, well, Michael, you're just saying this because you want to sell your program, you want to sell your coaching, right? Well, I started doing videos on YouTube, hundreds and hundreds of videos for years for absolutely free, right? And you can still find those videos. But this is a business. This is a business. And so, yes, we do charge for our services and for our products, and we have a right to do so. And we find that we get our best clients from those who invest in themselves. Often people who get the products for free, this is not always true, but sometimes when people get things for free, they don't value it as much. Again, that's not always true. So let me answer this short question first. Then I'd like to go around and just have each of you share with the audience and just take a minute or two, something that would inspire them to say, you know what, I don't have to stay where I am right now. Life can be really different and in a relatively short period of time. So just be thinking about that as I answer this question. So someone asked, are we available to work with children? And the answer is it depends on how old, and it depends on if the parent is there, because essentially what I have to do is I have to work with the parent and the child, because the parent basically becomes kind of the speech coach. The parent has to be there with the child going through the program every single day. That's not something that I can do. So yes, I have worked with children. I generally work with older teens and adults, young adults. I have worked with some children. If they're too young, then essentially I'm going to be working with the parent to work with the child. Okay, so I hope that answers that question. All right, so we talked about consistency. Some of you have shared your answers on that. You have to be consistent because what Abdul just said, you're essentially changing your thinking patterns, you're changing your mindset, you're changing your speaking style, like Vipin said, Howard, changing the way that you speak, and you're changing your speaking identity, how you see yourself as a speaker. That just takes consistency. And to a degree, it takes immersion. If you immerse yourself in this process, you'll get through it faster. If you don't, it just takes longer. So let's go around and let's start with Alwyn. So Alwyn, what can you share with our audience today that would inspire them to take this step to either do the self-study, this community, structure, system, or some people are going to be ready. You've been already watching the videos, you've already gotten results. Now you're ready to accelerate the process and work with me one-on-one. What can you say to them, Alwyn?
Sure, thank you. I would say that when you change your speech, you become a great speaker. You improve your life for the better, which is important. But I think what's more important is that with your speech, you can also help others to improve their life. And I also spoke about this in the last webinar where I was as well, because I wanted to do social work, helping a lot of people with their problems in their life. And I wasn't able to do that if I was not able to speak well, speak fluently. And so you can improve the lives of other people with your speech. So I think that's very important. And it's just an investment, life investment. This will remain for the rest of your life. So you can also go on a vacation, but you can also maybe spend this money on your speech for a couple of months, for a year, and see your life change. And so I think that's very important. And I think that if you're not ready for the coaching, you could do the self-study. It's something that I'm doing as well. I'm still considering to do the coaching in the future, but I'm not sure. But maybe that I will do the coaching as well. But I think the most important thing is that you can change the lives of others with your speech. And that really motivated me to improve my speech. So I think that's one of the most important things, yes.
Okay. Let's move to Kieran. Thank you so much for that comment and for your insights, Alwyn. Yeah, so let's move to Kieran.
I feel like so here's the thing. I'm just going to start off by being extremely honest about why all of us are here today. We really, honest to God, we don't have anything to gain from being here. All of us have been clients in the past or are clients right now. And the only reason why we're here is because we believe in the system. And I mean, I remember that while I was in the coaching system all that time ago, when I was in school, there was this one classmate of mine who had a really severe problem with his speech. It was really, really hard for him. And I remember watching him being severely bullied while I was in school. So while I was in the coaching, I don't think that I even told you about this, Michael. I made sure that one of the first things that I did was to send him a link to the website. I don't know whether he ever came to you, but I felt like it was so important for me to share this beautiful system that I found with the people who have gone through a journey that was a lot like the journey that I'd been through as well. And so for everybody who was really watching all of us speak here today, I would urge you all to just go take a look at the website, go take a look at the resources. I feel like when you read everything that's on there, when you read the experiences of so many other speakers like us, I think that you'll understand why all of us are here and we're saying the things that we are right now. Thanks.
Thank you, Kieran. So let's go to Vipin and then to Abdullah, and then we'll wrap up.
Thank you all, and thanks again for the invitation for today. So I made 3 quick points, but I won't say them too quickly. Firstly, so as somebody who has struggled with speech for 30 odd years, and then having jumped onto the program in roundabouts the last year and a bit, so I've made the biggest transformation in the last year and a bit. And it's not necessarily because I'm working any harder. I was still working hard at my speech beforehand. But there's an old expression, isn't it, that if you put that ladder on the wall, you can go up the ladder, but is the ladder on the right wall, or are you just heading up this different wall that you shouldn't be going up? So I think there's a lot to be said about this program, which is such a holistic approach. So it does hit on all the right facets: the affirmations, the self-talk, your method of speaking, and in order for you to become the best possible speaker that you can become. So one, I would say from a personal level, if you want to make headway and progress way quicker than you do otherwise, then I think it's worthwhile considering strongly. I think secondly, we've all used the word work. It takes effort and consistency and habits, but I'd say don't be put off by the idea of work. I think Kiran talked about compounding. You will start to see progress. You will start to see gains, and those gains will push you on and make you want to put more energy and effort into your speech. And finally, last but not least, and I can speak, I think, for everybody in this group, you can tell that, and I didn't come in planning to say this, but everybody here is a very good communicator. And I think by being on the program, you will become a very good communicator, which I've noticed this will make you stand out from the crowd. And I think it will then enable you to reach some of those heights and play out some of those dreams and some of those things which we all want to achieve. Thank you.
Yeah. So thank you, Vipin. I just want to make a comment about something that you said that Abdullah talked about earlier, and then we have a question here that maybe you can address, Abdullah, when you get ready to speak. But remember, Pro90d, even though we have how to stop stuttering, how to overcome stuttering, or sometimes we'll have improve your communication skills, you'll see all those titles and key phrases. This program really isn't about stuttering, believe it or not. This program is holistic, like Vipin said. It's about helping you become an excellent speaker, an excellent communicator, and you will begin to stand out, like Vipin said. So it's not about just getting you up therapeutically to the place where you can communicate, right, more fluently. It really is about helping you go above and beyond. Many of my clients have won speech contests. People have just come to them in their work, in their life, and just said, wow, you're a great speaker. Just unsolicited comments. So I'm not talking about, they said, well, how am I speaking now? No, people just come and say, you're a really good speaker, like above average. So this is really about taking you to the next level, not just about helping you stop stuttering, okay? Or stop this, stop anticipating, stop blocking. That's not really the best way to look at your goal. How do I stop this? The best way to look at and to go after your goal is, how do I start? How do I start speaking smoother? How do I start? And that's what we show you. So here's a question for Abdullah, and then your comments, Abdullah, and just take a couple of minutes here to share some inspirational words with those who are watching after you answer this question.
Great, Michael. So yes, the question is, how effective is the self-study course? Has anyone tried it? Yes, so virtually everyone who has done one-on-one coaching has also done the self-study course as well. And the self-study course is not only effective, it works like magic, because it gives you the right tools. It's a full system. So it gives you everything that you need to know about how to become an excellent superior speaker. So the self-study course is extremely effective, and you will be able to see huge changes in your speech if you get in that. And so now, for those of you who are watching this, I used to be where you are at. I used to watch these kinds of YouTube videos online. And to be honest with you, back then when I really used to struggle with my speech, I used to not like myself at all. Because it was a specific time in my life where I felt very sad because my speech had control over me and I wasn't able to live the life that I wanted to live. And so the reason why I think this speech system will work for you is because it's scientific. It's scientific. It has to do with the science of how we form new habits. And so this speech program will virtually work for everyone because we all have the same mind, right? Whenever you want to learn a new skill, you need to have repeated consistency over time. Speaking is a skill, speech is a skill, and you can relearn it. Scientifically, you can relearn how to speak well. I myself have seen it, and thousands of people have been able to do it. So I would say, do not lose hope. Have hope. Even if you're severe, so severe, I swear to God, if you work hard and you are consistent, you'll be able to see huge changes. But you have to be consistent and you have to work hard. It is not easy, but it is really rewarding. So that is what I'd say, Michael.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So we're going to wrap up here. We want to thank everyone for joining us. I want to thank you, Alwyn, Vipin, who had to step away, Kieran, who had to step away. We want to thank all of you guys, especially thanks to you, Abdullah, for helping to put this together and getting our guest here, and for moderating as well. Thank you for that. And so we're going to wrap up here. Basically, I just want to invite you guys, take a look at our website. There's a few links. One, you can start with pro90d.com, pro90d.com. You can start there, and basically two choices. Three. One, you can do nothing, and your speech will not get better on its own. I can almost guarantee that. It just won't get better on its own. Probably not, right? So that's one choice, and you continue to struggle. Number two, you can do the self-study. You might not be ready for the coaching. You might not be able to afford the coaching. Do the self-study. Now you're surrounded by a supportive community. You can get into a holistic, systematic, scientifically based process that will help you transform your speech and your life. Okay. So don't wait, because the time passes anyway. So 3 months from now, we don't want you to be looking back in the same place where you are now, or worse, because you've missed some opportunities. Now you're struggling. The older we get, the harder it is for us to change. We can still change. It doesn't matter how old. It's just that we just get set in our ways. We don't feel like changing. So we can, it just gets harder. So don't wait. The longer you wait, the harder it gets. The more opportunities you miss. Like Alwyn said, the less people you help. If for no other reason, you want to do this so that you can fulfill your calling in life and do what you're called to do. So, and this is, I mean this quite literally. There are literally people out there who may be dying physically, or dying emotionally or spiritually, because you're not there to help them. You're not there to speak certain things into their life. You're not there to start that program, to manage that team or whatever. And I mean this literally. Like, there are people, I have talked to people who said, I've been thinking about committing suicide, but I found this program. So literally, when you transform your speech, you will be serving others, and your family. If you have children, if you plan to have children, your family, If they see the way that you speak now, if you're struggling, guess what? They can pick that up. And you don't want someone else going through life struggling in the same way that you have. So when you transform your speech, you're going to be helping your family, your community, and the world. Okay. So do the self-study. Start right now. Email me to see if we have some great sales going on. So go to the website. There's a chat box there. Send me a message. Yes, Michael, I'm interested. I want to start self-study right now. This isn't for next year. You need to be ready to start now. And we have some special pricing for you right now. Okay. Your second choice, you've been watching the videos, you've been using it, it works. You don't really need self-study. You're going to get it anyway, but you want to work with me one-on-one. There's a link on our website, and I've posted the link, and I'll post it here. Work with me one-on-one, accelerate the process. You'll get the self-study and the community as a part of that package. It's an investment in yourself. I've seen people recoup that investment in weeks and months, many times over, like financially. They've gotten better jobs, or they've gotten jobs, or gotten better jobs, and gotten that money back that they invested in themselves. So you're going to get, you're going to recoup your investment many times over throughout your life. But we're not even talking about the benefits you experience emotionally, psychologically, and physically. Okay. So take some action now, and we look forward to seeing you inside the program. Okay. Any final comments, Abdullah? Am I forgetting anything?
Any last comments? Yes, any last comments would be, for those of you who are watching this, I strongly recommend that you get inside the program. At least first begin with the self-study program first. And then if in the future you feel like you may want to take your speech to the next level, then you can start to enroll in one-on-one coaching. And I would like to thank you, Mr. Michael, for this opportunity. And I hope everyone has a nice day or evening.
Thank you, Abdullah. Do you have any last comments, Alwyn?
I would say don't struggle longer. Just get inside the program and change your life and change the lives of others. So thank you.
Thanks. Okay. We'll see you guys later. Thank you.